Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Tyler from the Keep Pounding Podcast. Hope you guys are doing well. Today, we're going to get into the cap. So, we're going to talk about the current projected 2026 cap space that we have, what players that could possibly be cut, restructured to free up some money, what are some key players who could be extended to lower some cap hits, what contracts are hurting our flexibility to be able to make free agency moves. Best case, worst case scenario as far as caps go, and then how aggressive can the Panthers realistically be in free agency? We're going to talk about all that today. And we got quite a bit of news since I've talked to you guys last, so I want to kind of get into it. All right, so Bill Belichick did not get first ballot Hall of Fame. So in order to get inducted to the Hall of Fame, you need 40 out of 50 votes, 80%. And I think a lot of people expected this to be a no-brainer. A lot of people are shocked, including myself, on this one. I mean, the guy's won 8 Super Bowls, 2 as a Giants defensive coordinator, 6 as the Patriots head coach. He's had I think he's second all time behind Don Shula as far as wins, over 300 plus career wins. He has 17 division titles, 9 conference titles, 12 Super Bowl appearances. And that's just, I mean, what coach's resume is going to even get close to touching that? Again, if Bill Belichick isn't a first ballot Hall of Famer head coach, who is? He was asked, I guess there was reports out there that, what his reaction was to this. He said he seemed kind of disappointed, obviously puzzled. He mentioned his 6 Super Bowls not enough. What does the guy have to do? But what was reported out there was basically what kind of stopped him from getting the first ballot Hall of Fame induction was Spygate and Deflategate, which came into talks. There was some voters reportedly felt he should wait a year as punishment. So it sounds like next year he'll be inducted. There's another voter that said that the cheating stuff really bothers some of the guys. Specifically, Bill Polian was the one that was reported that was pushing for him to wait a year. Bill Polian, former GM for the Bills and the Colts, obviously New England rivals, big supporter of Robert Kraft. And I guess Robert Kraft and Belichick's relationship isn't that great. Definitely not great right now. I believe they were both finalists together, both Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick. But after all this coming out, it seems like they don't have the best relationship in the world. Again, voters can only select 3 finalists. And yeah, I mean, you had a lot of people on Twitter that were upset about this. You had Peter King. I saw him on Twitter so that he was very shocked. A lot of media members viewed this as just unprecedented. And I think this is going to kind of give is it going to give a ripple effect? Like, again, with Bill Belichick staying on the ballot, I think that kind of clogs the coaching pipeline. You have major names like Mike Shanahan that's going to be coming up, Tom Coughlin, Mike Holmgren. Whenever it's Mike Tomlin's turn, is he going to get first ballot, right? There was people out there that were speculating about, is he going to be picked for next year? Which it sounds like he is. It just sounds like they're giving him this punishment for the cheating that happened. But the question to me is, should the Hall of Fame be purely about on-field results, or should controversy and ethics really matter? Again, if Bill Belichick isn't first ballot, does that lower the standard? Does it redefine what a Hall of Famer is from a head coach perspective? So this was definitely very puzzling for sure. And then it was announced today that Joe Brady he signed a 5-year contract with the Buffalo Bills. So he was the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, Sean McDermott got let go. They promoted within. He replaces Sean McDermott. He's been there since, I believe, late 2023 as the quarterback coach, and then became offensive coordinator. And now head coach for the Buffalo Bills. He's helped the Bills in top 5 scoring offenses. Happy for the guy. I feel like he wasn't given a fair opportunity in Carolina. He was thriving, learning under an actual head coach in Sean McDermott versus Matt Rule, who's just obviously a bum. And it wouldn't surprise me if Matt Rule posts something about how he helped him become a head coach. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see who he selects as the defensive coordinator. So obviously Sean McDermott is going to come back as the DC. You know, I don't know who he has up his sleeve as a defensive coordinator. Could be Phil Snow. Probably not. I think he's coaching. I don't know if I can't remember what college football team he's coaching for or with, but he's like 70 years old. So who knows? But happy for Joe Brady. Again, I felt like he did not get a fair shake here in Carolina. And, hope, with the whole GM and the owner with the Keon Coleman press conference that we talked about last week on the live stream, I feel like that's kind of a little awkward position, specifically because he's the offensive coordinator now, the head coach. But I just don't really trust. It doesn't seem like Brandon Beane has done a good job really supporting and providing great talent for the Bills. If it wasn't for Josh Allen, this would not be a playoff team. It would not be a playoff team. Josh Allen is the Buffalo Bills. I mean, they have some good players, but they would not be nearly as dominant and as talented from a win-loss perspective if Josh Allen wasn't there. So Joe Brady with the Buffalo Bills. And then another hire is Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh. He signed a 5-year contract as well. He had his press conference today, got a little choked up a little bit, saying he grew up a Pittsburgh fan. Obviously, Mike McCarthy coached for the Green Bay Packers for a while, but this is the Pittsburgh Steelers' first offensive-minded head coach. You had Don Shula, defensive-minded. You had, Bill Callan? I can't remember the Pittsburgh's head coach after that. Calhoun, I can't remember. He was defensive minded. You had Bill Cowher, and then obviously Mike Tomlin. But Mike McCarthy, this one really shocked me. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback going into the season for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but wasn't Aaron Rodgers the reason why Mike McCarthy got fired in Green Bay? I feel like I remember that being a reason why. But again, Pittsburgh, like this shocked me because Pittsburgh is known for the long-lasting stability of head coach. And how long do you really, how long is McCarthy going to last for? I mean, I think he can help keep the Pittsburgh Steelers roughly where they're at, 8-9, 9-8, 10-7. But is he really going to get them over the hump? I don't think so. This is an older team. It seems like the owner doesn't really want to help rebuild this team. So, but Mike Tomlin to Mike McCarthy, that's a kind of a big step down. And I'll be surprised. It sounds like Mike Tomlin isn't really looking forward. I know he's not going to be coaching this season, but he may not even coach moving forward. There's been a lot of reports that he's going to want to be an analyst and stay that way. You get paid and very little to no pressure. So Mike McCarthy, the new head coach for the Steelers. And then you got the Browns. So the Browns, they interviewed Nate Schilhaus. He was the Rams pass game coordinator. Supposedly he's the front runner for the head coaching job. Obviously learning under one of the best offensive minds in the game right now, Sean McVay. The Rams offense this year, total yards per game, they were second in the NFL. Passing yards, they're second in the NFL. Rushing yards, 7th in the NFL. And points per game, 1st in the NFL. So this is a young, great offensive-minded coach. Learned, again, great mind under Sean McVay. There are reports that Grant Udinski, he's the offensive coordinator for the Jags. He was set to interview with the Browns, but reportedly withdrew himself from the head coaching position. There were a lot of rumors that he got wind that the Browns job was pretty much set with Nate, so he withdrew. But he was in the running. I think also Grant Udinski was in the running for the Buffalo Bills job, if I'm not mistaken, until obviously Joe Brady got it. But I did see a report that Grant Udinski did get a raise from the Jacksonville Jaguars. So he will be the OC next year, but he's definitely a name that I think will be one of the hotter names next offseason as far as head coaching hires. But Udinski is the third coach to drop out of the Browns head coaching search since Mike McDaniel and Jesse Minter. Jesse Minter, if you guys don't know, got the Baltimore head coaching job. Mike McDaniel got the Chargers offensive coordinator job. But who really wants to play for this hot mess NFL franchise? The Browns are an absolute mess from a front office perspective. They have never had a stability, and they've never had any stability at head coach. There's been so much turnover. I believe they're like just under 20, they're about negative $20 million over the cap. Is Shador Sanders really your quarterback of the future? There's a lot of holes on that roster. Um, but I've also heard reports that they're making coaches complete questionnaires, multi-part essays, personality tests, and additional homework. Like, this is just something like this franchise is a joke. The Browns are a joke. Like, if you're any good quality coach, whether it's offensive or defensive minded coach, and you would this really be your first option wanting to go to the Browns? No. The good luck. I feel like they're just going to be hiring within. I can't remember the guy's name, the defensive coordinator. I know that he's interviewed for the job, but the, this this franchise is a joke. When you're the bottom of the barrel franchise, you take what you can get from a head coaching perspective. You don't make these coaches complete and do all this homework. It's crazy. So no wonder people are wanting to opt out of the head coaching interview process. But they need to just provide a little stability, show that your franchise can function well before you get too picky on who you're going to hire. So still, you have the Browns, the Cardinals, and the Raiders that have not hired a head coach yet. So there's still three teams out there. And, let's see if Evero gets a job. Maybe Evero will get the Raiders job. I know that I feel like the heat on that kind of died down a little bit. I think they're looking to see, I forget the coach's name from Seattle. I think it's Kubiak. I think I'm thinking of. I think that they're kind of waiting for that domino to fall, and then everything else will kind of go into place. But I think Evero has would be, if he's going to go anywhere, he's going to be more likely to be going to the Raiders. But I feel like out of all three of the remaining head coaching franchises, I feel like that's the most ideal place to go right now. You have the Raiders. I think they got the number one overall pick. I think they're top three in cap space right now. It's Vegas. So the Browns, they're under they're over the cap. The Cardinals, I can't remember if they're over the cap either. Trying to remember the Cardinals. No, I think the Cardinals are pretty decent. I think they're over $30 million in cap space, but yeah, who wants to go to this franchise? So we'll see who. I think they'll probably be picking last, and I also think they're going to be picking their defensive coordinator too. I want to talk about the Pro Bowl here. So this isn't going to be a shot at Shador Sanders. I don't hate or love Shador Sanders. I think that he's a decent player. It can be a decent player, but he's not a Pro Bowler. Do I think like kind of what happened to him, uh, you know, in the draft last year? It is what it is. But I don't. There's a lot of people that love, a lot of people hate this guy. I hope he's successful, but he does not deserve a Pro Bowl selection. Like when I saw this on Twitter the other day, my first thought was it was just a random profile trying to clickbait. That's really what I thought it was. I just saw like this random Twitter profile, never heard of it, and I'm like, they're just farming. And then literally a minute later, I saw Adam Schefter tweet it out. But so when he tweeted out, Shador Sanders has been selected to the Pro Bowl. Again, I had to like double, triple check to really make sure this wasn't a joke. And this is kind of what happens when you have people that don't want to go. You have Drake May that was selected to the Pro Bowl. Obviously, he's going to the Super Bowl. Josh Allen was selected. Justin Herbert was selected. They're both injured. You have Bo Nix that's injured. Patrick Mahomes that was injured. Daniel Jones declined. A lot of players declining. And this is what happens. It trickles down to Shador. His QB rating is 41 out of 42 eligible QBs. He's played only 8 games this season, 3 and 5 as a starter, just over 56 completion percentage, 11 turnovers, 10 interceptions, 1 fumble for loss. He's beaten the Bengals, some division rivals, the Bengals, the Steelers. He beat the Raiders. He did get beat by the Titans, even though that was a good game. He did have an interception that game, but Pro Bowl to me is no longer an honor anymore. It's just an accolade to have. The prestige of it is not the same as it used to be. The NFL needs to, in my opinion, needs to make a change when it comes to Pro Bowl to where it becomes more of a prestige award like it used to be. Again, now being a Pro Bowl is cool if if you underachieve. Like this is cool for sure. If I was him, I don't blame him. I would go to the Pro Bowl too. He gets to put that on his resume. He gets to say that he was a Pro Bowler quarterback. Um, Again, the honor just doesn't hold that prestige anymore. It doesn't. All Pro does, but Pro Bowl, in my opinion, I just think the Pro Bowl selection should be more of a ceremony type of thing versus a flag football event challenge. It just no one watches it, no one cares about it. I feel like something needs to change. Like no one's watching the Pro Bowl. I don't know anybody that talks, any fan, like a true football fan, really watches that. Obviously, you're never going to be able to go back to how it was back in the day, actually playing football, hard hitting. But again, the NFL needs to create some change, whether it's an award honor type of ceremony. It's better than what it is now. So, I guess congratulations to Shador, but it's just if as a Panther fan, and I get like wide receiver, like skill positions, like you can, you know, get alternates and other positions like defensive lineman, defensive tackle, defensive end, you can't. So it's really hard to show any respect for someone that for like Shador, like having the earning this when you have Derek Brown not making the Pro Bowl. Like if Derek Brown is making the Pro Bowl, like this means nothing to me. So again, like it is what it is. It's just I think it's like 6, 7, 8 different quarterbacks that declined it. You have Tyler Huntley in the Pro Bowl too, and he didn't do well this year. So the Pro Bowl again has no meaning. It doesn't. Now, I want to get into talking about the cap space this year. So I looked at both reports as far as over the cap. So over the cap is here. Then you have spot track that's over here. So pretty, similar. I trust over the cap more. This is the projected 2026 NFL cap space. I believe that's after everything as far as um, rollover and rookie class being signed. Because this year, we were once projected to have $27 million. Now we're projected to have 9 million. But then you also have to look into the rollover for last year, which I believe is around 12. So we have roughly just over 21 million dollars in cap space. But again, take away the 10 million for the rookies, you got about 9. So I'm not sure how much they did or didn't factor in the rookie. This should be another zero here, but $9.1 million left over. Credit to Taco Tweets. He posted some stuff out, but because I had questions too. I'm like, we had 26, 27, and then we also had 18 on the back end of 2025 rollover. But why did it drop? And it's incentives. When you make the playoffs, especially with the contracts that Brand Tillis has created, it's highly incentive based. So you have JC Horn that got extra cash, Tommy Trimble, you have Mike Jackson, Austin Corbett, Bobby Brown III, Rico Dottle. They all got incentive paid. So now we're projected at 17 million. Again, with the rookie class, that's $10 million taken off that. So you're roughly messing around with 7 to 9. Now we can increase that. But we have to make some moves. If we're going to make a big splash in free agency, if we want to trade Hendrickson, if we want to Max Crosby, we want a high level elite edge rusher, pass rusher, if we want a Devin Lloyd at inside linebacker, we got to make some room. We have to make some room. And there's a couple ways of doing it. So cuts or restructures. So again, can we afford to make a big splash? Not right now. There's the room. There's a lot of moves that need to be made. There's a lot of time for us to make these moves. Our free agency doesn't start till March 11th, so we got plenty of time. We got just under what 6-7 weeks until free agency starts. That's kind of soon, actually. That's kind of soon. But there's a couple of names that I thought about. Obviously, this is who can we cut, who can we restructure and extend to save some money at the cap. So you have the first name that came to mind looking at over the cap was A'Shawn Robinson. So A'Shawn Robinson, he did sign a 3-year, $22.5 million contract back in March of 2024. $10.375 million was fully guaranteed. This year's cap hit is just $12.5 million. So if we cut him, that will leave us with $2 million in dead money, but that'll also save us $8 million in the cap. Now, A'Shawn Robinson has played very well for us, in my opinion, specifically in the run. Can he get a little bit better at pass rush? Sure. But again, what is Evero like? And Evero went out to get this guy from, I believe it was the Giants, because he used to play for Evero whenever Evero was the defensive coordinator for the Broncos. So based on how he's playing, I think they keep him. I honestly think I think it's very likely that they're going to extend him. But if they do cut him, does that mean that Bobby Brown III is going to step up at that position? I think he does have more upside than A'Shawn Robinson, definitely from a pass rush perspective. And Bobby Brown is a really good run stuffer too. But if they believe in Bobby Brown III, again, he kind of played behind A'Shawn Robinson and provided some good quality depth. But if they do cut him, that's the possibility of who's going to replace him. Or maybe they look at the draft at defensive tackle, nose tackle. Again, Carolina, they have them. They might have to be cost efficient for the defensive line. We have the 5th highest cap hit on the defensive line. So it is a possibility that we do cut him, but just based on run defense, Evero's love for him, how well I think he played pretty well for us this year. I think we'd give him a nice little extension for an extra 1 or 2 years and kind of kick that can a little bit and open a little bit more cap space for this year. And then maybe give him a little bit more guarantee money next year. Another possibility, Tommy Tremble. So Tommy, he did sign a 2-year contract at $10.5 million. He did sign that in March of this year. It was a $16 million max deal with incentives. So obviously he got some this year. He does, and obviously $8 million guaranteed. If we do cut him, that will save us $6 million in the cap. That'll add $2 million to the cap. But I do like Tommy Tremble, to be honest. He's a good run blocker. He's had a couple explosive plays last season, specifically the Atlanta catch that big play where he made 2, 3, or 4 defenders miss that set up the game-winning field goal. But he's a C+ tight end. Like, our tight end group is like, it's a good solid C, right? You don't have like that George Kittle or Bowers from the Raiders type of tight end, but we have a good solid group with Mitchell Evans, Jatavian Sanders. Let's see if he sticks around next year, but a good solid group, but you could definitely upgrade at that group. So if you feel like that, maybe you're going to get a tight end in free agency. I know that there's been a tight end linked to us at 19. I don't think that's a smart idea, but there's been if you're going to do that in the draft, you're not going to keep a Tommy Tremble. You're going to save $8 million. So he's definitely a possible cap casualty, a cut. I think it's more likely we cut him than we do extend him. Mike Jack, he signed a extension last year, a 2-year, $14.5 million contract. What a deal, by the way. What a deal. Great deal for an A+ CB2. Obviously we're not going to cut Mike Jack. He's playing phenomenal. The Mike Jackson and JC Horn together, they're one of the best corner groups in the NFL. 100%. But will they extend him for an additional 2 years? He just turned 29 back in January. Um, and I think extending him is the best for both sides, in my opinion. Again, can you add another year or two on his deal? He gets a pay raise. We would save money on the cap. It's a win-win, in my opinion. I think that's a no-brainer. It wouldn't surprise. They either don't do anything with that, or they are going to extend him, and it wouldn't surprise me extending him. I just think that's a win-win. Pat Jones, he signed a 2-year deal March of this year. It was a 2-year, $10.25 million contract, up to $20 million guaranteed. He did have a season-ending injury back in mid-October. He had a herniated disc in his back, which required surgery. His cap hit this year is just over $10 million. If we do cut him, we just save $4.75 million, but the dead cap is $5.3 million, which is a decent hit. I think it's unlikely. I just put him there because there's going to be some big decisions that Dan Morgan and Brant Tillis are going to have to make. This is something I feel like most likely that's probably not going to happen, but based on the possibilities looking at over the cap, I think it is a possibility. But again, if we cut him, it's a big dead cap hit. I think it is unlikely we do anything, cut or extend him, in my opinion, but it is a possibility. He was solid for us when he was healthy. He's a good run defender. He's okay at pass rush. I did feel like we kind of took a step back just a little bit whenever he was injured as far as a pass rush and a run defensive perspective at edge rusher was concerned, but that did allow Princely, Nick Scorton to get more reps too. One thing I feel like that will happen this offseason is extending Damian Lewis. You're obviously not going to cut him, right? So I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying like you got to cut Damian Lewis. That's not going to happen. But he's been the most consistent lineman we've had from an on the field perspective and staying healthy perspective. He's only 29. Again, linemen, they play very well until their mid 30s. We got to extend them. Keep him around longer is a win. But again, it's going to help us save some money on the cap. So I feel like that's probably going to happen this season. That would not surprise me. And then Chandler Zavala, could he stay for depth? Sure. He's been injured a lot this season. He, not really healthy. He wasn't really good. I think you cut him and save. I think you only save just over $1 million. You would save like $1.145 million and just $190,000 in dead cap, which is nothing. So I think you cut him, save $1 million, especially if you go out in the draft and or free agency and get yourself some improved depth at offensive line. I don't think they're going to sign a big offensive line free agent. If they sign anybody in free agency, they're going to re-sign Cade Mays, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Saw reports that the Texans were eyeing Cade Mays. He's going to be asking $10 to $12 million per year. We're already paying $80 million as offensive line starters are concerned, and then you have Icky that could be out for the season. At the very least, he's out for half the season. More than likely going to have to draft a left tackle, to be honest. So I just find, letting Chandler Zavala go, like he's been in the system, but he's had knees injuries. When he's in, he wasn't that good. So I think you just take the money and you try to put it into something else. So Chandler Zavala could be someone that could get the can too. So, let me know what you guys think, right? Let me know what you think. So again, if you guys are new to the channel, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are as far as who you think could be extended, who would you like cut. Someone was mentioning earlier about Turk Wharton. Turk Wharton, I just don't see us cutting him. Let me look at actually. Let me switch up. Let me actually look at over the cap real quick. Let me do something real quick. Let's do. See if I can work this. Share screen over the cap. Here we go. Okay. So let me show you. I had a couple people mention on Twitter, and I saw someone mentioning Turk Wharton. Tershawn Wharton here. being cut. And I agree with you. If Wharton, if we could save some money, kind of like Ashawn Robinson, I think you do let him go. He was injured for at least half the season last year, it seemed, but you wouldn't save any money, zero. With the guarantee money, it would cost us $23 million in dead money. Tershawn Wharton isn't going anywhere unless you can trade him, and I just don't think that's going to happen. I think he was solid when he was healthy, but I feel like he could do better. But because he was out a lot last season, he couldn't really get into a groove as far as consistent play. But Turk Wharton isn't an option to let go, guys. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But this is the cap hits right here. You got Derek Brown at 24.5, Robert Hunt at just under 24.5. J.C. Horn at $24 million, Trayvon Moore at 21, Taylor Moton at 21. I don't think you extend him. We already extended him last year to kind of help with the cap. Ike Ekwonu, this is fully guaranteed, so that applies to that. Damian Lewis, only 16.7. Again, if we can extend him, that's going to save us some money. So those are the big cap hits right there. Those are the reasons why we're at where we're at. But realistically, I think best case scenario, there's projections that we can get up to like 40-50 million if we really try to finagle the cap a little bit. But again, from what Brand Tillis and Dan Morgan have shown, is they're willing to do incentive, but they're not really going to want to take on a lot of dead cap unless it's like win now and they want to kick the can, and they feel like our window's open. But I feel like our window's slightly starting to open a little bit. But I think worst case scenario is, you re-sign or extend a couple players, and that gives us an extra 10 million, and then we make a couple of signings at edge and inside linebacker. We just get some C+ players. But I just feel like we will make a signing, though. We will be making are we going to make like a big, huge splash? Maybe not. But what, again, Dan Morgan and Brent Tillis have shown us is they go out and attack the needs during free agency, like the priority needs. So again, it's going to be edge rusher, inside linebacker. It's not going to be left tackle because we're paying a lot of money for offensive linemen, but edge rusher and inside linebacker, I feel like one of those two we're going to attack both. But I think they're going to have a few plans in place, but we'll see what happens. But they're definitely going to be spending money at that position. So again, guys, if you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are as far as who should be extended, who we should cut to get some money for the cap. So that way, here in about a month and a half or so during free agency, March 11th, we'll be able to make a few moves. So appreciate you guys for watching. Keep pounding. Peace.